You're listening to Start, Scale, Exit, Repeats, Serial Entrepreneur Secrets Revealed. We do this show every Friday, 2 o'clock Eastern on Clubhouse. So if you want to connect here, you got to go to Clubhouse, sign up to Startup Club, and join us on this show. We do it every Friday. We have phenomenal authors. We have really interesting serial entrepreneurs, even some unicorn entrepreneurs. And we have a lot of experts who come on. And we have a community. It is a live show when we welcome people to come on stage and share with us their ideas of what they think about on this show and what their thoughts are or their questions that they may have for the expert that we have featured on here. But let me tell you something. We have just launched the fifth Startup Club Edge newsletter, and it is incredible. It is an incredible newsletter. It is packed with information, over 70 growth hacks. We have a dedicated AI section, so you're going to have AI tips come out every month. The team here, we work very hard to support this club, to support the million members, but we think the best value you can get is simply by signing up to this newsletter and understanding that. And if we could, Mimi, if we could bring Wally onto the stage, that would be great, and make Kyle and Michelle moderators. So I want to really emphasize how important it is to get on this newsletter. And here's something I'm going to do for you is I'm gonna play a little snippet from the newsletter because we're breaking new ground. And Wali Shareef is joining us today, and he's going to be talking about killer networking and his new app and the way that founders can use networking to generate business. And I think a little bit what we're doing with this newsletter is also a good example for you as well. And let me just hold on. Let me see if I can find it here. We're in the studio here. It's a little bit new stuff, but I'm going to play this for you just as a snippet. And this comes with every newsletter now and every article we do on Startup Club. We include a deep dive.
Which is just practical strategies for entrepreneurs. Colin's newsletter is really brimming with insights. Yeah. And what's caught my eye is this concept of minor, major growth hacks. He's got like 70 of them outlined. I'm really eager to unpack that idea. Yeah. How these small moves can yield big results. Okay, 70 growth hacks. That's a lot to unpack. So before we get lost in the details, right, can you break down this whole minor, major idea for our listener? What makes it so powerful? So imagine this. Colin's son, he decides to sit in the front row of his college class. Seems like a pretty insignificant choice, right? Yeah. But it leads to increased focus, better engagement with the professor. He even starts connecting with other really ambitious students in the class. Yeah. And that's the essence of minor major. Small actions, chain reaction of positive outcomes.
All right. So you've got the idea there that what we're trying to do and how we're trying to make this not only a newsletter that you can read and it's fully packed with information, but also a newsletter that you can listen to if you're driving home or if you're not big on reading and just want to try to absorb information in a different way. Using AI, Notebook, LM, Deep Dive, we're able to put this together. So that's something to check out. But we're going to jump right away into the show. We are so excited today to have a character join us, somebody who I've gotten to know over the last couple of years. I see a lot of LinkedIn posts. If you're not following Wali Shareef on LinkedIn, you better start following him. He's got a lot of great content that he shares with us. And he is the CEO of Follow Up Now, founder of Follow Up Now, and has been also a pretty serious business coach. He's coached over 500 professionals, helping them grow their business and gain referrals. So today it's all about networking. Wally, welcome to the club.
All righty. Thank you, Colin. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come out and connect with your network and see how I can provide some value. That's all I do.
All right, Wally, thank you very much for that. And we're gonna first, I think the first question, Michelle, unless you got a question, is I'm just curious about the app. I know we're jumping right in. We're probably going 3 levels in already. How is it that you know so much about networking And what can the app do to help people with networking? And then the follow-up to that would be, what are 2 or 3 things that people could be doing today? We wanna try to get practical here, some real practical information of what things people can do or founders can do to basically make more sales through networking.
Okay, awesome. If you've seen my LinkedIn, I'm only talking about what we can do practical to really help us out. I'm not really big on motivational because if you're a business professional, you should already be motivated. How can I help you do things that's going to work and move the needle for you and your business or wherever you are? So, for networking, 20 years, I have built several businesses just by building relationships, meeting other professionals. I've been a member of BNI. For those who don't know, it stands for Business Networks International, and it's the world's largest referral organization in the world. And I've been affiliated with them for over 20 years. And that's how I learned how to reach out to other professionals, to build those relationships, to build business, to get referrals, uh, to start my own IT services company, to start my own real estate investment company, and to do business coaching. All of these, that organization helped me get to where I am. And because of technology, actually, I was at a networking event. I went to a hackathon just to meet people, just to network, and actually found out I could build the technology to help me with my biggest problem in networking, which was the follow up. We meet people, but we're terrible at the follow up. And now with AI, with automation, and with the skills that I've learned over the last 20 years in business, that's how I came up with the idea for Follow Up Now, to help business professionals follow up with the people they meet at networking events and to start that conversation. And that's where we are. And we finally have an app in the Apple Store to help us do just that.
So, what is the name of your app, Wally? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I need it. Okay. And a thousand thoughts are going through my head right now. You meet people, you're trying to connect. Like, there's so much to this. But
Yeah.
first, so we don't lose sight of this, I want to look this up. What is the name of the app? And just could you just basically tell us how it works? Are you like recording things right when you meet them? Is it sending you reminders?
Okay.
How are we actually doing this?
So the name of the app is simple. It's called Follow Up Now. And the main pieces of the app is first the connection. So you take this app with you to a networking event. You're talking with somebody, you meet them, and the first question after you've had that initial conversation is, how can I connect with you? So we could follow up tomorrow to continue that conversation. And they're going to whip out their phone or they're going to whip out a business card. And that's how we connect the first time, with a business card, paper business card, or a digital business card, which you can scan right into the app. And as soon as you do that, they're going to get that customized follow up message that you've already created in the app. You've already set the time when it's supposed to go out, whether it's 12 hours later, maybe if you're at an evening event, or immediately if you've just collected a bunch of business cards and now you're scanning them. As soon as you do that, they're going to get a follow up message when you schedule it. But here's the catch, it's not a sales base, hey, let's get on a call so I can sell you something. It's, how can I help you? Who are your ideal clients that I might be able to connect you with? Who's a great referral partner that you're looking to meet? Hey, what's your hobby and what's your birthday? If you're meeting someone for business and they can't answer a couple of questions about their business, then you probably don't want to do business with them. And then this is how we vet the professionals that we meet. And now, once you have that information, we can continue. We can use AI to continue the conversation, to get more, ask more questions. So now you can start to connect those professionals together in your network for business and referral opportunities. And then when you need somebody, you don't have to scramble around to figure out where they are. Just type into the app, I'm looking for an attorney who does IP, who's in my neck of the woods. Boom. And hey, I need them to speak Spanish. And then now you have them right up there in the app. So now you know who you need, when you need them, and how to connect them. That's follow up now. That's it. That's all we want to do.
So I'm curious because does it in you said also electronic contacts you can have loaded into the app. Do you mean, you know how LinkedIn has a little QR code? Like how does it work? Because we don't typically like, at least at our office, to carry cards around anymore.
Mhm.
How does it work with what you just said, electronic cards or whatever it might be?
Yeah, so that's the digital business cards I was referring to. So the QR code, so you could pull up the app and scan a QR code, and it will scan that information into the app. And we also allows you to scan it right into your default contacts as well. So you'll have them in two places. So when you want to look at the people you've connected with for business, go right to the app. You can scroll through whether you've connected with a business card, paper business card, or the QR code from Popple, Link, Dot, Blink, or any of the myriad QR codes out there.
All right, Wally, I'm going to go a little old school on you here
Hmm.
because I know your personality. We have a party next Saturday. I think you got an invitation. We have a party next Saturday. 150 people are showing up. And, it can be a little bit of a daunting thing to walk into a group of people like that, whether at a conference or a party or whatnot. And you obviously don't want necessarily be selling right out of the gate here. But
Hmm.
this idea of networking, can you give us some tips on how to walk into a party and connect with people first, build a rapport, and then the follow up on that? How would that roll out?
Hmm. Wow. So no, that's an awesome question. I am so much better at business related events than I am at social related events. But no matter which one you're at, the best way is to ask questions. When you're asking questions, you're not selling. You're trying to get more information about the other person. Try to find something that you can connect with. If it's in a party situation, more social where people are not really in ready to talk about business, then you have to find something that you can ask questions about, whether it's where you're from, something interesting that you might have seen about the person. People love to talk about themselves. So if you're unsure about how to approach, find something to ask a question about, and then that can spark additional questions and that can spark additional conversations to go back and forth. If you're in a business situation, it's easier to ask, what do you do? And then who's your ideal client? Those are the top three. What do you do? Who's your ideal client? Those are the people that you want to bring into so you can make more money. And more importantly, who are your referral partners? Those are professions that have a bunch of your ideal clients coming into their door and you don't compete with them. So if you can find a couple of good referral partners and identify them, you're going to be able to get more clients. So by asking people those questions, you can spark that conversation and you can get those information. And if you have a great referral partner, you can refer them to because you've got a great rapport going. Now you can make that connection and be of more value to the person that you're speaking to at that networking event.
Yeah, I know this may sound basic, but there is an EQ thing here, especially with entrepreneurs and founders who they love to brag about their businesses. We run paw.com. Oh, you should have seen we did $1 million of sales in the first in the between Black Friday and Cyber Monday and blah blah blah. But you're saying no, you're saying ask questions. First understand the people you're talking with and see if you can't make a connection. And that builds the rapport, and then you can move from there. And then my next question would be like, so how do you get to the point where you can hand them a business card or have them scan a QR code, especially if you can help them? Because I guess you figured out a way to help them.
Yes. Because once you start asking those questions and you've had a couple of minutes to chat, the next thing is, hey, let's connect and see where we can take that. And here's the great thing: when you ask people questions, you're basically vetting them, you're pre-qualifying them to see if they're a good fit for you. Great tip for founders. You're out, you meet an investor. Don't pitch the investor. Nobody likes that. Instead, ask them, hey, well, what do you invest in? What industries? What's your minimum check size? Hey, have you had a great investment lately? You want to tell me about it? And then you can finish up with, hey, if I meet a founder that would be a great fit for you, would you like for me to make a connection or introduction? And if they say yes, great. How can I connect with you? Now you've asked them all those questions. If they say they're in medtech and you're doing fintech, you don't have to pitch them about your product, which they're not interested about. Now, what if they say they're interested in medtech and you are in medtech? Now you can have a follow-up conversation. Hey, I know you said that you like medtech. Would you like to hear about what I'm working with in the medtech field, which you're interested in? Now you're not pitching. Now you're not selling. Now you're making a connection, and the investor would be a lot more comfortable talking with you because you didn't go right in for the sale or right in for the pitch.
Yeah, Wally, I had got a crash course in that. I got a crash course during the IPO, and we visited 38 investors, institutions to do this IPO. And I'd walk into some boardrooms, it'd be very formal, be like 18 people around, then you do a formal presentation. I walk into other rooms and they would just start throwing questions at you. They didn't want to see the presentation. So one thing I learned pretty quickly, and the RBC bankers taught me, was first of all, we go with the way they want it presented. If they want it presented like a formal presentation, then do that. If they want to just ask you questions, then do that. You have to understand your audience. You have to understand who you're with when you're pitching to them, because that makes all the difference. I know I'm having some internet
Mm.
problems here right now. Hopefully you can hear me. We're trying to get the
Yep.
internet back on the office, but we did have a bit of an issue with the internet. Michelle, it's good. Okay, so Wally, follow up on that. This idea that when you are connecting with people, that everyone's got a different style, but we've got only one style. Like, how can you be authentic and real, but also have that be able to adapt your style for each person you interact with?
My style is always asking questions to get more information because nobody wants to be sold to. And that's the biggest thing. If we can understand that people don't want to be sold to, and that you can start a rapport by just asking a few questions. Yes, we know you're there to do business. We know you're looking for new business to make some more money for your business. But most people don't care about you and how you want to make more money. People care about themselves. So if we can continue to find out how we can help other people, because most people are not going to buy from you. Networking events, people do not bring their checkbook. Investors do not bring their checkbooks with them when they go out to events. So take some time to find out if there's a connection and if there's an opportunity. And if there is, great, go for it. Once you've made the connection, once you've made the rapport, you know what you're doing. You go ahead and do your thing. But if there's no opportunity, figure out how else you can create an opportunity by helping somebody else. Imagine connecting another founder with an investor that was not a good fit for you. Now there's two people that's going to remember you for the next time or for that next opportunity that comes about. Mhm. Correct. That's what it's all about. And it's yes, we have the lead generations out there. If you need lead generation, you do it. But we're B2B. We're about building relationships. And that takes time. And that takes a skill to go out and be able to ask the questions that gets the answers to find out if there's opportunities. We're not saying you're just asking questions just to ask them. You are building a relationship and you're hoping for some opportunities. And maybe it may not be in front of that person, but now that person knows, hey, this is a pretty cool person. They didn't try to sell me, they didn't try to pitch me. I'm going to keep them in mind for an opportunity that may come about. And the more people you have looking out for you, the more opportunities you have. And this is what I've learned when I started building this app, meeting people like Colin and getting involved in this whole tech scene, just by being around people, making myself valuable. All of these doors and opportunities started to open to me when, here's the thing, I've spent 25 years as an IT consultant, never knew that I could run my own tech startup. Had no idea until a guy I was sitting next to at the hackathon says, hey, you need to go to the Levan Center of Innovation. You got a great idea with this follow up now thing. And I was like, really? And I went, I applied, and I got in front of people like Colin with his book. It just opened a whole lot of doors and opportunities. I was like, oh, I can do this. The networking part, I have. But the skills that I needed to be able to build this app, I didn't have them, but I was able to learn them, and I was able to surround myself with people who could help me get to where I was.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about the importance of connecting in incubators, in learning centers. In South Florida here, we have what Wally called was the Alan Levan Center. And it's not something you pay for, it's actually free. You can go there and you can connect with professional speakers who help you build your story and help you get your business launched. And then what's more importantly, I think, Wally, is that this idea of connecting with more people. Even our small incubator here, Michelle, we have a much smaller one over here in downtown Fort Lauderdale. And we were talking about how do we sell paw.com products in South America. And a gentleman who has a VR company was saying, my last company, I used to sell products to South America. They were computer-based products, and he said there's three companies that can do it, and he outlined the companies, and he said this is the one you want to focus on. They have warehouses in Miami, and you can actually sell and operate out of South America from Miami. And here's the company you want to use. And this is just like we only have 8 in this little incubator here in South Florida, and it's amazing how much you benefit by connecting with others. Wally?
That's absolutely correct. When I'm on Reddit, there's a startup subreddit, and people are always talking about, hey, I have this idea. I don't know how to start, and I don't know what to do. And I just go back to sometimes I'll chime in, dude, go find the tech ecosystem in your neck of the woods and start connecting with people because that's where your opportunities come from. And here we're in Fort Lauderdale, which is might be in the top 10 tech ecosystems. So we have these opportunities available, but they're all around. So go out and find them and start connecting because we all want to help each other succeed. Nobody's doing
Exactly.
to be all about themselves. So there's plenty of resources and plenty of people who want to help. We just got to go out there and reach out and make ourselves available.
Agreed. All right. If you're in the audience and you like what you're hearing and you want to come on stage and ask Wally a question, please feel free to raise your hand now. We've got plenty of time to take your questions, or you might have some experience networking, a few tips or tricks. We have Richard on the stage. Richard's been on the stage a few times here on the club. Richard Pierce. Happy to have you on again, Richard. Any thoughts on this topic or any questions for Wally?
I'd say it's a great program. It's a followupnow.com. Is that your website, Wally?
It's followupnowus.com.
Beautiful. There's a lot to be said for that. The fortune is in the follow up. We often don't do it in a systematic approach. So look at it like you want to manufacture your follow up. I think the birthdays are huge. I often ask people, what's the month and day of your birthday? and then I put it into my database so I can text them, call them, mention it to them from time to time. So I would think to make that a top priority going forward, just how many people can you get their birthdays from them? And then just start asking questions. And I like what Colin said, it depends on their style. Some people just want to ask you questions, and other people want more of a formal presentation. But just keep it centered around them, and definitely check out Wali's site and test it out. So it's a great concept.
Yeah. Let me add, thank you for that about the birthday and the hobbies. Now, with AI, how it easily can help you with that follow up. Networking events can be stoogey. I don't like stoogey networking events. And we want to use this app and platform to start connecting people around their shared interest, their hobby. Once I went to a networking event at a cigar shop. I don't smoke cigars. And I had to basically get undressed before I can get home because all my clothes felt like cigars. Now, if that's your thing, then great. Let's get professionals around pickleball, hockey, cigars, wherever the case is. So now you feel more comfortable around the people that you're with because you have shared interests. And now there's still an opportunity to do business, but you make it easier. And by knowing people's birthdays and their hobbies, you can give them a gift, a card, or whatever the case is, and AI can help you with that. Hey, I got some birthdays coming up. Can you help me based on their hobbies, based on their profiles, to pick out something that would be really nice for them? And now you can go ahead and you can do that. And you're going to be that person who's going to be top of mind. That's what you want to be, top of mind to the people in your network.
Yeah, I agree. I think follow up is really important. I have a story I'd like to share here. Back in 2012, we needed to raise $7 million in 30 days.
Wow.
And I put together a PPM. We did a Reg D filing with the SEC, and I reached out to 45 of my LinkedIn followers and was able to close 27 investments. And what's interesting is a lot of these people were just people I had met. One individual was a gentleman who I'd met when I was speaking at MIT on entrepreneurship, and he liked what he heard, and we just connected on LinkedIn. And then he saw this, and he's, wow, this is interesting. I really want to be a part of this. And so he invested, I think, $100,000 in the startup there. And if I didn't have the LinkedIn, I'm going to throw this thesis out here. If I just collected business cards, it would have been a mess. I
Mm,
never would have been able to pull this off. Now, obviously, LinkedIn's a little bit rudimentary compared to your software, and but just knowing that one day you might need someone, or you might have an opportunity for someone, and you might be able to reach out to them and show them that opportunity if you've connected with them, if you built a rapport with them, if you developed something with them, that's the key. And you
mm,
don't necessarily know when you're doing it, right? You don't
right.
know. I could be like, I don't know why I'm just connecting with this person, but I just know I am who I surround myself with.
Exactly.
I'm as powerful as my network.
Hmm.
And when I lean into my network, when I need my network, they help me out. And that's what business is all about. That's what most entrepreneurs, most founders do, is really connecting. Half of our success is connecting.
Exactly. Your opportunity.
I'm going to add to that.
Hmm.
I'm going to say connecting and persisting, Colin, because like how many like deals have we ever closed or you ever closed based on one or two interactions? It takes a long time sometimes.
Hmm.
So I think I'm interested to try your app, Wally, but
Hmm.
I love what you're saying here. But
Yeah.
persistence for me has always been so super key. And also another technique I use, just I like to read a lot and look at business news. I like to also send people articles. And I
Mm,
find most people really appreciate that. Oh my gosh, I just read an article in the Wall Street Journal. I'd love to send it to you. Tell me somebody who's not going to be happy about that.
exactly. I do that a lot. And that's one of the things on this platform we want to do. Same thing that Rich was saying is we want to be able to be of value to our network. So if you read something and you say, wow, who in my network could really get value from this? Now you could drop it into our AI chatbot And based on the profiles, we're going to show it to Colin, but we're not going to show it to Michelle because you know what? Michelle, she's just not into this kind of stuff. And then now Colin be like, wow, how does this guy know I like this kind of stuff? Because we keep asking questions and we want to be top of mind. So this is going to be the biggest platform for businesses, about businesses, by businesses, to connect those professionals together for whatever it is that they need. That's what we're doing with the follow up now. We're just starting with the app, starting with just nailing that follow up feature, but it is so much more to keep those connections going, even for young people coming out. You need to build your network, no matter where you are in the process. If you're a professional, you need to build your network to see who's in it, because just like Rich said, he tapped into his network and got that investment. My first couple of investments were people who I've been taking care of their computers for the last 20 something years. The guy, one of my friends, he says, I see you on LinkedIn. What is this follow up now you got? And then when I was telling him, he was like, are you looking for investment? I was like, yeah. And he invested in the company. And then I reached out to people in my network who knew me as the type of person I was. And like, yes, here's a few bucks to help you along. Your network is your net worth. So you got to build it, and then it's going to be there for you, but you've got to put into your network as well and look to help people in your network. If you can connect them, you're going to be top of mind, period.
And there it is. There it is. You're listening to Wali Shareef, and we're talking about networking here. If you're listening to this on podcast or on YouTube, we're actually a live show. You can join us on Clubhouse every Friday, 2 o'clock Eastern. And last, or not last night, it was in last night. I approved it last night, but at noon today, our monthly newsletter dropped. It was phenomenal. Over 70 great growth hacks. We now have a dedicated AI section. We do the time to sell index. It is jam packed with value bombs to help you with your business, your startup. And I got to get, I think for next newsletter, Wally, we got to get we'll pull something together from this transcript using AI, because I think you got a lot of good tips. We had another gentleman on. I apologize, I can't remember his name right now, but we had another gentleman on who's had a similar expertise, and he wrote a book called Nice Bike. Nice Bike. And his story was interesting. And what he did is he was walked up to this motorcycle gang, and they were very intimidating and whatnot. And he didn't know if he should say anything or not, but he said, you know what? So screw it. He goes, yeah, nice bike. And that started a conversation where he was able to build a rapport, become friends with these people. And really, this idea of complimenting somebody, but doing it authentically, this is his concepts. If you sometimes see others do it when you're walking to a retail store or something like that, and they want to make a sale, and they're like, oh, nice haircut or whatever. It can't be fake. It's got to be real. But Wally, have you used that at all? Have you ever used that technique where you try to compliment something to break the ice?
Yeah,
Compliment something good about them authentically.
yes, absolutely. If you're always looking to see how you can add value and make connections, then it's easy to see what's great about somebody, even if they're shy, to just to break that ice. So to identify something, whether it's a nice tie or bag or pumps that they have on, whatever the case is, if that's how you want to connect with people, then it is going to be authentic and not doing it just because it's a good tactic to use. Because that's how you are. If that's how you are, then it's going to be authentic, and you can always find something to connect with somebody with. So absolutely.
Absolutely. And I have another tip, but I want to drop down to Hitesh. Hitesh, is that the way correct pronunciation? I wanted to ask you if you had a question for Wally, or if you had an idea or a little sort of networking hack. Hitesh. And if you're not ready there,
Hello, hello.
oh, here you are.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for letting me share. It's amazing to be on your show. Lovely listening to you guys. Can I go ahead and share?
Absolutely. That's why we have this show, so you can go ahead and share. We love it when you come on stage. And by the way, we do the show every Friday at 2 o'clock. We're trying to crack the code of
Yes,
what it
yes.
takes to be a successful entrepreneur.
Yes, yes. I remember Michelle on the other show as well. Good to see you, Michelle. I just put my son to sleep and it's been amazing. And I just finished my marketing right now. I just came back home, put my son to sleep, and I saw this group and wanted to join the startup club. I'm starting my new training and consulting company, and I do a day job with as a project manager, worldwide project manager, and I had to do something for the society. So I had to do marketing and I had to target a lot of places. And there are two ways to market. And what it takes for startups is definitely marketing. You need to do physical marketing and digital marketing. You need to see footfall in your marketing campaign wherever you go, people seeing your ad, people seeing your brochure, people seeing your posters. The more visibility you get, more impressions you get, the more impact you make. And it's marketing all the way for startups, whether you have a venture capital investment or you have your own money or your mother's money, whatever it is, you got to market your product wherever you go. Market physical marketing, digital marketing, get impressions, create an instance in your customer's mind. Once you do that, you will be starting to get leads. You will churn revenue, then be able to create loyal customers depending on your product. Once you market, you need to have a good product. And once you get feedback, you need a continuous cycle. And this goes on for years until you're able to get to the level you want to be. And that's my strategy. And great to listen to all of you. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And I have another one, Wally, another gentleman who I saw speaking at an entrepreneurs convention. He is this idea. He said that what you need to do is when you meet somebody, when you shake their hands, you look in their right eye because 90% of people are right-handed and they're right eye dominant. And it makes a deeper connection generally when you do that versus just looking in the eye. And I actually was listening to a podcast last week called Something You Should Know. It's a pretty big podcast, and they had a guest speaker on who talked about the very similar concept. I'm not certain, Wally, if you've heard of that before, but is that something that you've thought about, or is it something you agree or maybe disagree with?
No, I've not heard of that. And you got to remember, some cultures uh, operate differently, where you may not even shake hands, or you can only look them in the eye for a certain amount of time. So there's that. And I've not heard of it. And if it works for you, then okay. But I'm not really into doing a whole lot of tips and tricks. Just be real. Just be how you are with and wanting to connect with other people. And if it's looking them in the right eye or left, then that's the way it's going to be. But I do want to address one of the questions here. We have Ajay on the call who thinks networking is overrated. I wonder if he can come on and ask and answer, why does he think that?
I'm talking to mute here. You think about big tech, they don't need to connect with any humans. They just have you ever talked to somebody at Google or Apple or Microsoft or is there are we going down that path where AI and other technologies are making networking more less important? And I don't think so because I believe ultimately people do business with people they like.
Yep.
Period.
And AI is going to have its moment. It's going to help us be more efficient, but nothing is going to beat face-to-face interaction. When it comes down to it, you're going to reach out to the people that you know that's going to look out for you. Perfect example. When we had the pandemic, I was a member of a BNI chapter, and we met once a week in person, and we had to shut down. But BNI was on point, and we had our meetings up and running on Zoom within 2 weeks. But more importantly, you still had those group of professionals around you who knew you, liked you, trust you, and people whose profession just went poof overnight and they had to pivot. Guess what they had? They had a group of 30 other people that they can call on to say, look, this, I can't do this anymore, but this is what I'm doing. And they were like, hey, yes, I can help you. People who had to pivot into other industries already had a network available to help them. Those who were solo lone wolves, they had nobody. Their profession just went poof overnight, and now they had to pivot, but nobody they can connect with. Why? Because we were all shut down. But if you have a network, you can do what you need to do, and you're going to be able to be successful. So face to face is not going anywhere, despite.
Yeah, but it was harder in the pandemic, wasn't it, to really get new clients? If you had
Sure.
existing clients, you're fine.
Mhm.
But if you had to, it was just hard to network to get new customers through Zoom. We did a few things. We had online comedians and stuff like that. It was just very tough.
Yeah. And because we already had our network, we just moved it to Zoom and we can continue doing business with each other and reaching out because even though the world shut down, business didn't shut down totally. So if you needed something, you had people in your network that you can call on and they could say, "Hey, I know this person. I know this person for years. They're on the level. Let's go to work."
Exactly. All right. We have another lady on the stage here, Bode Seed. I'm sorry the pronunciation. I really have to learn better on name pronunciation, but Bode Sadi. If you have a question for Wally or you want to share with the room, we'd be happy to hear from you.
Yeah, greetings everyone. My name is
Bossa
Yeah,
Day. My
yeah,
apologies.
it's okay, that's fine. You tried. Thank you so much. I actually stumbled on this by mistake. I just put on my hairpiece and I just found myself on this platform. So it's been nice so far. I really love what I was hearing. I'm so new to real estate and I was told to start networking. In fact, I'm going to one of a networking program tomorrow for the first time. And I was just thinking, how am I gonna ask? What are the questions I'm gonna ask and all that? And this program just popped up. I overthink a lot what to say, how to act, and stuff like that. So I really love the fact what you said about asking them, oh, what do you invest in? Show interest in their particular discipline or what they do or what they invest in first and telling them, oh, you like to know about it or you want them to teach you something about it, then you can now talk about yours or trying to compliment something about them. I think I really love that. That's like an eye opener for me because I'm just coming in, I'm just starting. So this is good. I'll always stay tuned. So I love what I'm hearing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
Wow. Let me add, since you're in real estate, you should have a few questions, qualifying questions that you might be able to ask someone to see if they may be a good prospect for you to continue the conversation or know someone that they might be able to introduce you to without going into the sale. If you're in real estate, you're selling real estate in a particular area
Uh-huh,
to a particular type of person,
uh-huh,
whether it's a family or if you're in commercial real estate, you have to come up with your questions that you might be able to ask somebody that they would love to answer. Like, oh, hey, maybe you're married, you have kids, or something to that effect, or do you live in a particular neighborhood, or there's some reasons why people would want to buy a house, right?
uh-huh,
Maybe they just, it's a couple, they had a new kid, or maybe they want to move into a better school zone. So maybe you might want to ask a question about how's your school zone, your school district. Oh, hey, it was great because our kid was in seventh grade, but now they're getting ready to go to high school or to middle school, whatever, and that school district is not that great. They might be in the mood to be able to move to a better school district. So these are the kind of things you want to think about and that you can ask. And now, if they say, hey, you know what, you want to move to a new school district, do you really want to solve that problem? I might be able to find you a house in a great school district. Or, you know what, I know that so and so area has a great school district for kids going into middle school. Would you like to have a conversation about that? Boom. And that's how you do it.
awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, just to add on to what Wally is saying, I think that's a terrific point, and especially getting your niche segment. For example, you need to target the marketing based on your customer segment. You need to segment your customers based on what you're selling, and you need to make sure you get to those places where you see more footfalls and visibilities, and where your focus area is. For example, when I was young, I used to sell lemonade, and I used to keep a stall outside my hall house, and nobody used to come. And then my uncle told me, "You need to go to a school." I just went to a school and I kept a lemonade stall, and it was selling like pancakes. So you need to find the niche segment where you will be able to sell your product, where they want to hear you out. If you're in the wrong place, you will be in a quicksand, you will be in a black hole. You need to find the right people who love you, appreciate you, want you, and then you will see a lot of business, money, and good wishes coming. And Wally, that's a terrific point. Thank you so much.
Hmm. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I like this idea of establishing yourself as an expert in a particular industry. And if real estate in this one little area, and the school districts, this street has a lot of traffic, but you're the expert. And being able to share that expertise can be a way of establishing yourself as an authority figure for people when they do want to make that choice to buy a new house. Because there is one thing, while it's nice to have a rapport, it's nice to connect with people, but the reality is you also have to be someone that they trust
Hmm.
with these big decisions in their life. And that's in any business, not just real estate. We're talking about any business. And if you're the expert and you send out follow-up material with that expertise, or oh, this school got an A rating, or this got this there's a high crime in this area, and you're sharing good and bad news or your expertise with that potential prospect, that can position you to get that client down the road. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because, like you said, you have to be an expert at what you're in. And when you give out that information, people are going to be able to pick that up. And in addition, your network, if she's in real estate, hey, she needs to know a great painter, electrician, plumber, contractor, attorney, title company, gift shop, moving shop, pizza shop, karate shop. Right? If she could start talking about these different things in her particular neighborhood, because she's the expert, she knows everybody, then people are like, oh, you know what? We got to call her because she has all the answers that we're looking for. We're new into this area and she knows everybody, and they're all good. But then she has to make sure she tells the people that she's connecting with, look, this is my reputation on the line. I send you to somebody, you make me look good, and you take care of my client. If you can't do that for me, I'm going to get somebody else on my team. So it works. Everybody has to work together, and everybody has to know that we're in it to make the customer or client look good, feel good, and be happy. And then we'll all be successful together on our road.
No, Wally, can I ask you the scary question?
Sure.
How do you go for the close? How
How
do
do
you
you?
build up these relationships? But at a certain point, you need to monetize, right? At a certain
Yeah.
point, you need to say, "We have a." I don't know what I'm trying to think of a line that I could use to say I should be your real estate agent. Yeah, I can't. I'm horrible at that part. I
Hmm.
think a lot of people are afraid of it too.
Once you build that rapport and you've already pre-qualified the person, and then now you can say, hey, would you like to have some more conversations on, can I help you buy that house? Can I help you purchase that house? How do you feel about us getting together and sitting down and talk about buying that house that you're looking for? We know where you want to be at. Let's set up a conversation and let's get you that house. No matter where you are, ask for the sale. There's no harm in asking for the sale once you have pre-qualified everything and everything is lined up. Even if you're a coach, right? We have plenty of coaches out there, life coaches, business coaches, and you're talking to someone and they're complaining about something. And then the next step, you want to ask, is that something you want to change? Whatever it is that you're complaining about. And if they say they want to change this thing that's giving them a problem, go ahead and ask for the sale. So I can help you with that. Can we have a conversation to see how I can fix this issue that you're having? So there's no problem with asking for the sale.
Yeah, and I think most conversations, once you start to engage, plenty of points come available for you to get to the next level. I
Mm-hmm.
think thinking of the lady who's the real estate agent here, like I would say, okay, I would love to show you a couple of neighborhoods. I can tell you a couple neighborhoods, like actually giving of yourself some, you'll find that people are typically very grateful for that. That's how I would do it. I would ease into it. I would know where those points are and I would be looking for them. They will happen, and they will happen in a natural way, typically.
Correct. If you ask enough questions instead of just going right in and saying like, "Hey, can we show you some houses?" No, I don't know you yet, right?
Exactly. And I think if I will say to you, if you have some recognition, credibility, I think that can also help as well. And let me give you an example of that. You may have been a real estate agent of the year award, or you may have been a trustee for the school board, or you may have lived in the area for 20 years. I don't know what it is, but establishing that credibility
Mm.
in any business is important as well. Would you agree, Wally?
Oh, absolutely. And if you can work that in without being braggy about it, and just in the course of showing that you're an expert in this particular neighborhood, then that's going to hold a lot of weight. Absolutely. And it's also the way you present it. Sometimes we get in front of people and they're just spouting off all the great things that they're done, but they're not really authentic about it. They're not really about how they can use it to help the person that they're in front of. And if you give it in the right way, then you're going to get a great reception and you're going to be the authority. Absolutely.
Just to add on what Wally said, I think that's the wonderful point, and it's very important to create the credibility, to create the loyalty. I think once you get the credibility of the customer, you create loyal customers. They keep coming back to you for more business. It's just like your children when they are happy with you, you see them coming to you and talking to you more and laughing. And that's how the customers are as well. They have a good experience, they become loyal, and you have next 5, 10 years of business, and the word of mouth spreads. And completely agree with Wally. I think that's wonderful. Thank you so much for the share.
So, Wally, how do people, and I'm going to ask you to be a little bit bold here, and how do people connect with you? How do they connect on your LinkedIn? I love your LinkedIn posts, by the way. I find them very inspiring. And if anyone here is in the audience, you're listening to this on podcast, you should definitely connect with him on LinkedIn. And then there might be some other ways to connect too, Wally, but how do people connect with you?
Yes, the best way to connect with me, two ways. Either visit my website at followupnows.com. All my socials are there. You can connect with me on LinkedIn as well. If you need the spelling of my name, it's Wali Shareef, Wali, and then Sharef. And connect with me. Don't connect with that guy who's number two. That would be my son. So don't connect with him because he's still a little bit younger than me. But I would love for you to visit my website, see what I'm all about, see how I can help you connect with professionals of all types, and then let's just go to work.
That's awesome. You've been listening to Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat, Serial Entrepreneur Secrets Revealed. We do this podcast, YouTube video, and we do it every Friday, 2 o'clock Eastern. It is a live show. You can come to the show, listen to it on Clubhouse, on Startup Club, and you can also join us on stage. And I really appreciate all of you who did join us on stage and were able to contribute. It proves again that the community of Clubhouse and the community of Startup Club, when we come together, we can really help each other. We can really learn from each other. We may not be a physical incubator, Wally, right? Startup Club, but we are a virtual one. And the more we connect and network, even through the app here, I've met I can't tell you how many friends I have met on this app over the last 3 years. It's incredible, and I have friendships that have even strengthened with others because of it. It is just one small step in your journey of starting, scaling, exiting, and repeating your businesses over and over again. But that is Startup Club, and I will say one more time: go to startup.club and sign up to that newsletter. You'll find out about all the great authors all the great speakers, all the great experts like Wally here, and you'll find out who's coming on. You'll also get massive downloads of tips and tricks. Today we came out with 70 growth hacks, minor majors, micro moves. We have an AI section now, and we're just loading it right up with articles and different information. So go to www.startup.club to sign up for that mailing list. Thank you all, and to my co-host Michelle Van Tilburg, thank you very much. Wally, any last words of inspiration for our audience today?
Wow. First, thank you, Colin, and thank you, Michelle. Thank you all for being so gracious and inviting me here. I had a great opportunity. I'm going to see you on some more Fridays just to hang out with you all. And as always, I end all of my posts with "Let's go to work."